Hey y'all, what's up? It's Sports Freak University back here with another episode. The usual suspects. Got my boy Jake repping that UGA squad down south. We got my boy Vic representing the Pac 12 out west. We got my man Chris up in that Northeast New York. Coach is he'll be here with us soon. Auburn Tigers over there representing, and then you got myself. I'm a Maryland guy. You know what I mean? DMV, Mid Atlantic, all of that. But I'm in the West Coast right now, so I hope you guys, a lot of you guys, watched the first episode, and we got a lot of good feedback, and a lot of folks was telling us they really enjoyed the show. So we appreciate you. Don't forget, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure you subscribe to the podcast because we appreciate it. Gives us the motivation to continue doing what we're doing today, y'all. Today for the fans out there that like the Hogs, that like the trenches, this is your show. We have offensive tackles, top 5 offensive tackles for each of us. We'll break down our favorite guys in our top 5 and go over it, and just kind of give you some insight on who should your team be looking for in the NFL draft coming up in April. So man, how you guys feel today? How you guys feeling? Ready for a good show?
Yeah, let's do it. Coming off the heels of the Senior Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready to talk these big uglies that we got on deck right now.
Yes, sir.
You ready, Vic?
Yeah, man, let's go.
Vic is a man of few words.
Get it.
So, all right, I'm gonna share this so everybody can see these graphics of the players, and then we'll break them down. Okay.
All right, let's go. Let's get it. I'm excited, man. I've been watching this film, ready to share it with you guys. All right, so we got the Sports Freak Podcast, offensive position rankings. We on tackles, like we said. Some Senior Bowl updates. Talk about who was my favorite guys. That I watched at the Senior Bowl that I liked, and then some concerns about certain players. I can't wait to tell you I think everyone knows when you see my list, you'll be able to know exactly who my guy is that I'm high on, and my guy that I'm kind of concerned about. But we'll see. It's still early in the process.
All right. So we're gonna skip past the first one.
Yeah, let's start off with Vic. Pac-12 offensive line. Go ahead, break down your guys, Vic.
Definitely, man. So I know everybody's gonna talk about Charles Cross, and Neil and all of them and Penny, but I'm gonna keep it in my root. So I got Sean Wayne, Abraham Lucas, Bam Osalani, Braxton Jones, and Iquanu. So to me, we didn't see a lot of stuff from these guys in the East and West Shrine game and the Senior Bowl, but my man. I'm gonna talk about 1 and 2 first. So my first guy, I'll talk about Sean Wayne. I'm really big on this cat though. He was heavy recruited coming out to UCLA. I think he has one of the best feet and probably one of the best run tackles in this draft. 2001, man, the Bruins just kept running the ball over 200 yards per game. He only gave up 3 sacks, 3 quarterback hits, 9 harries, and he played over 100 snaps. 800 snaps this year. He can play left tackle, right tackle. Sometimes he was getting beat. That's one of my concerns. If you look at the LSU game, me and Jacob watched that game. He was getting beat a couple times. That swim move was kind of hurting him, but he has potential though. He didn't play at the Senior Bowl or the Eastern West Shrine game, but hopefully his name comes upon in the NFL Combine. And my second guy for me personally, I like Bam Osanani from Utah, man. This cat is from London, 6'8", 350. He played in West Shrine game. He was just dominated. He's probably one of the best tackles in the East and West Shrine game. If we didn't see Jackson Kirkland because he has an ankle injury, but with Bam, he played great, man. If you look at the game versus Oregon versus Kevion, one thing about Kayvon from Oregon, all these cats played against him, and they played great against him. Lucas, Sean Wayne, they played against that Oregon, and Kayvon was having issues with all these cats. So with Bam, back to him, he's from London. he's like I said, he has a massive thing, just a competition, right? You know, he didn't really he was playing left tackle, right tackle. He has a big frame, 6'8", but he can't. His issue was just anchoring people, you know the swim move. But he played great at the East and Western game, like I mentioned. So just look out for him though. Look out for that cat, and that's for me. That's from my end. You know, Abraham Lucas. Yeah, there's some issues.
Definitely struggle.
Struggled this weekend, but he played a great game. So, but to me, he's gonna be my third guy. But yeah, that's
Hey, so let me ask you about Sean Ryan. Is in the NFL, what would you project him as a left tackle or as a right tackle?
I think he can. To me, he can play left tackle, but I see him more as a right tackle.
Okay.
But if he's somebody like a team that wants to go heavy run, left tackle for him. So he has. My thing is he was limited on that pass protection this season, and that's maybe that's coaching staff with Kelly out there. You know, he had DTR. He was a running quarterback, and but he was versatile, but. I see him maybe first, second round, maybe first. I don't know. It just like anything can happen, combine and all this. So I'm big on this cat, though. I really am. He has the potential to play the game at the next level.
You know, I'm interested in him because Chip Kelly is kind of hard on offensive linemen, man. You know, with that up tempo. You got to give the big guys a chance to catch the breath and get them their feet underneath of them. And I think sometimes you even heard it when he was in the NFL, the offensive linemen didn't really enjoy playing for him because it was too much up tempo. And it's like moving way too fast. Those guys need to be able to catch their breath between plays. So maybe if he goes into another system, maybe a zone system like a Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco. That might be a good system for him where he's allowed to pull and a lot of stuff is dictated where they're dictating to the defense on what they're doing without so much up tempo.
The thing I want to mention about him though, in the limited sample size I have, he looks like an ideal fit for a zone running scheme, but he doesn't play like it. So like areas where he struggled were in space. So like if they were asking him to pull in the run game, or if it was an outside zone concept and he's really moving, he struggled to actually find his guy. And I think Victor can second that. It was really weird because like in pass protection, you see a mobile guy that can mirror well. But when it came to the run game, it didn't seem like his traits matched up with how he was playing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we saw that versus LSU game. So like I said, I don't know. I'm big on this cat, but like I said, if you look at the Oregon game, it was a different situation, right? He was good at pass play, but the running was still not there. So I'm big on him. Like I said, we'll see how he goes. Maybe he'll be the first offensive tackle taken from the pack. That's what I believe. So we'll see where we go from him.
Before we move from your slide, Vic, I just want to. Abraham Lucas struggled a lot in Senior Bowl practice. Why do you think, after watching his film, why do you think he's struggling so much to really establish himself in this pre-draft process?
I don't know. He has the big frame. He has the frame, but he doesn't use it enough. He's what is he? He's 6'7", 332. He played versus good schools at the pack. I don't know. He was, some of the stuff that I watched from him. He has experience in the running game. He played air raid offense at Washington versus, so I don't know. Maybe it was just a bad week for him or something. But like I said, Senior Bowl is not something to play around with, man. That's where a lot of players like this weekend that we'll talk about.
Rise where they fall.
They're gonna make a lot of money, man. And Lucas, was one of my high picks out there, but I had to kind of bring him down after that performance.
Yeah, it's concerning, but I would say, he's a guy that I think could probably benefit from NFL coaching. We just know it's just a different level, NFL coaching. We've seen guys who were kind of average and maybe in college, and then they get to the NFL and they become elite because of coaching. Coaching can make a difference. For him, it's good that now the NFL is kind of starting to embrace a lot of the college-style offenses. We see the air raid system basically in Arizona. There's a place that they may value him more than other teams because he played in a similar system in college. So there is some light at the end of the tunnel for Abraham Lucas. He still has his pro day in the combine to try to make up for a subpar Senior Bowl performance. But yeah, y'all. So anybody who likes the Pac-12, any of these guys stand out to you? Now you got some names to go and look up and research on some guys that might end up on your team. So we go to the next one. Next list, I think we have Chris. Chris got a lot of my guys on his list. Chris, break down your guys and tell me, give us a guy that really, that maybe not a lot of people are talking about at this moment, but really stands out to you.
So I'm gonna start off. I'm gonna list my guys first,
Okay.
and then I'll say so. At 5, I got Trevor Penning at 5. 4, I got Bernard Raymond. 3, I got Evan Neal. 2, I got Ike Ekwonu, and at 1, I got Charles Cross.
Cross
Yeah, I
at
think
1, huh?
yeah, I got Cross at 1. I like the tools that he has. I think he's by far the best pass protector in this class. Obviously, he has to get a little stronger in the run game, but there's a lot there when in the limited opportunities that he has to run block. You see a lot of good as far as leg drive, as far as leverage is concerned, and the angles that he takes. I think there's something there to work with. It's just the Mike Leach system that he's in. That didn't do him any favors as far as developing as a run blocker. But I think at the next level, he could really take it to the next level. And as a pass blocker, he's there already. Like, he's very polished, very clean with what he does. Insane grip strength. Once he gets his hands inside the defender's chest plate, it's a wrap. Good athletically. He has to get a little bit stronger, but he's one of the youngest tackles in this class. So, the more that he's in a strength and conditioning program, the more his body matures, that strength, it'll improve, because we've seen it happen with other tackles as they come into the league. Colton Miller being one of the latest ones, where he was light in the pants, and now he's one of the best tackles in the league, as he's been able to really develop that strength and pair it with the physical ability that he has. I'm gonna jump to my other guy, Bernard Raymond, at 4. He came into the Senior Bowl with shorter arms than expected. He had 33-inch arms. But when I watch him on film, that doesn't really show up for me. I don't really have any concerns with his arm length on film. He's a guy he's a natural athlete. He used to play tight end. Just in 2019, he was still playing tight end. And now he's ballooned up to 300 plus pounds and playing tackle. What I like the most about him is his core strength. His core strength is ridiculous. And you can see it sometimes where he's caught off balance and he's able to recover. And to me, that's one of the most important things for offensive linemen is when you lose initially, how do you recover from that? And his ability to recover is some of the best that I've seen in this class. And I think that's so important going to the next level, because you're going to get beat. Like, we saw Alejandro Villanueva get beat and not be able to recover.
Right.
And that's something that you could probably improve on it a little bit, but I think that's something that it can't really be improved that much. And he has it naturally. So that's something that I really, really like in offensive linemen. And that's the reason why I actually have him above Trevor Penning, because Trevor Penning, he has the physical gifts, he has the nastiness, the tenacity, he has all of that, but his ability to recover once he's beat is very, very iffy for me. And I wish it wasn't, because I like him so much. Like, how can you not like the dude? You watch him and you like, damn, I want this dude on my team. But that ability to recover after he's beat, that's going to be tough for him at the next level, because these guys are just going to get better and better and better. He's going to be facing the Von Millers of the world, the TJ Watts of the world. And if he's struggling to redirect and recover once he's beat against guys that went to Iowa State, that's a huge issue for me. So that's the reason why I have Raymond above Trevor Penning. But it's been shifting. Like is it's 1 week is Trevor Penning, the next week is Raymond. So it's always shifting with those two. Like it's a constant battle. So maybe next week it will be Trevor Penning above him. I don't know.
He was solid at the Senior Bowl. He showed a lot of versatility all week. Um, he was they had him playing center at one point. He was playing guard at another point. He was playing tackle. I think they even had him at left tackle in the game.
Who's that?
Bernard Rahman.
Oh yeah. I saw. Yeah, he was at left tackle. He was him and Abraham Lucas. There was one series where they were just taking souls in the run game and just devastating dudes.
And to go back to Abraham Lucas, like Vic, he really made up for a bad week with a pretty good, solid game. He Lucas was pretty good in the game. But again, I mentioned that I think last week where some players are just not practice players. If you get them in the game, they're just different. And sometimes it just doesn't come through in practice. But Bernard Raymond showed his versatility, and in today's NFL, where teams are only carrying 5 to 6. I mean, about 6 to 7 offensive linemen. That versatility is so important because it allows you to fill other positions on your roster. When you got a guy that can play multiple positions. So a guy like Bernard Raymond is a solid guy who is, I believe, by April he'll be just shooting up boards. Chris, do you think he can end up in the first round?
I think so. But it's a talent thing versus what the NFL historically does. So he has 30-inch arms, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we know a lot of NFL teams are not going to like that. So that already scratches him off a bunch of teams as far as a first-round pick is concerned. Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing with like Roger McCreary, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I think Roger McCreary is a first-round talent, but I'm not too sure if he'll be picked in the first round now because he has shorter arms. So I think Raymond and McCreary, I think they're first-round talents, but I'm not sure if NFL teams will pick them in the first round because of the lack of length that they have.
Okay, cool. Jake, you wanted to add anything to Chris's list?
I'll kind of hit on it with my list here.
Okay.
I think everything Chris said was really good. We have the same players, except for one. I have Kenyon Green in my list. He is number 4 for me. So at the top of the list is Ekwonu. Akeem Ekwonu is just the favorite guy I've watched so far. I am going to have a consistent theme, though, with my rankings. For me, the Ravens are adding a player that can, play both sides. That's great. I think Green might be lower on the list if I'm really considering his left tackle ability. But I want somebody that is a mauler in the run game and somebody that is just like dominant. So that's why Ekwonu is higher for me than Cross. I think Cross is the best pass protector in the class. I don't really think there's much debate about that. But I just loved the way Ekwonu played. He had very little weakness in his game. Really just a dominant player, a complete mauler. He's like a pancake machine out there. I can't really say enough good things. I think he keeps a wide base very well. I think he anchors well. He moves extremely well for his size. I think he's pretty nimble, surprisingly, at tackle. So I really think he's probably scheme versatile. It doesn't matter if you're playing more zone or more gap power stuff. I think he can do it all, to be honest with you. So he's number 1 for me. I don't really need to touch on Neal. I'm going to let one of you other guys touch on him. But I'll go over to Kenyon Green because that's the obvious difference. Most people in scouting communities, most fans think this guy is a guard at the end. And while I don't disagree that he could play guard very well, I think in Baltimore he could play right tackle perfectly fine. I think he fits into the Orlando Brown spot that we were lacking this past year, and he brings that nasty in the run game. He actually is a good pass protector. I just think he would struggle a little bit at left tackle. He comes to the league from A&M after playing all 4 spots. The only spot he didn't play was center. So he's versatile. The Ravens would love that. And I think you're getting a pretty complete player that you take him early in the first round, say Cross, Neal, and Ekwonu are gone. I would be happy taking Green, and you plug him in at right tackle. If things aren't working out for whatever reason, I think you slide him over to left guard. In my opinion, he wins that competition pretty much without much of a battle there. And you still try to get the best 5 out there. Personally, Green can play right tackle in Baltimore with some ease, especially with Greg Roman still being in Baltimore and the run scheme that they tend to do. It helps out the tackles tremendously. So anything that, might make that a hindrance for some people, I think is alleviated by the Ravens run scheme.
What's his better position, you think, in the NFL? Is it guard or is it tackle?
I think it's probably guard, but for a player this talented that can play tackle, I think the better philosophy is to play him at tackle, let them fail into guard. And it could be a quick fail if it really didn't work out, but tackle is a more premium position. And I think if he fails there, you're still getting a premium guard, which is just great. So whereas Cross is a good pass protector, and I think he's growing in the run game, like Chris mentioned. I also saw good things from Cross in the run game, even on his tape. He had some down plays, but for me, I like the idea of Green after you lose those top 3 guys. For me, he slots right in there. And then I have Trevor Penning, number 5, but I haven't really gotten into Bernard Raymond yet. I'm behind on some of those other guys.
So you obviously you have Kenyon Green slotted over Penning, so you would take him over Penning?
Yes.
Cool. Anybody want to add anything to Jake's list? Pretty good list, man. I mean, like, honestly, as a Ravens fan, which we all are. Sorry, secret blown. I would take any of these guys in the first round and would be perfectly fine with it. If any one of these guys' names got called on, on that first night of the draft, I wouldn't be upset at all. I would be able to go to sleep, peacefully knowing that we got 9 or 10 more picks left, and we already got that major need already out the way. Because any of these guys will fit a need. Some of these guys are more right tackle than left tackle, but this is a solid list, man. Solid list. So then we'll go to the next one, which is, I believe, is my slide. So pretty much very similar to Chris's and Jake's list. Now let's just start from 5 on up. Number 5, my top 5. Number 5 would be Daniel Falele. Number 4, for me, number 4 would be Trevor Penning. Number 3 would be Evan Neal. Number 2 would be Charles Cross, and number 1 would be Ike Ekwonu. Ike is just, I mean, you guys already said it, but like, this guy is just, he's the real deal. He's the real deal. Ever watching his film, I mean, he does everything well. I mean, he's an outstanding pass protector, pass blocker. He's nasty in the run game. He has the right temperament you want from a franchise left tackle. I mean, if you can slide this guy on the right side, on the other side of Stanley, when we cross our fingers and hoping Stanley is healthy, I mean, you're back to having a top 5 tackle tandem in the NFL, entire NFL. And I mean, you just put the right guards between these 2 guys, and I mean, you might have the best offensive line in football. I mean, that's how good of a prospect this kid is. But the guy I want to talk to, actually, I want to talk about 2 guys. I want to talk about Daniel Falele, Trevor Penning. 2 guys I saw at the Senior Bowl. two guys who, to me, after the Senior Bowl, are kind of like hitting in opposite directions. Before the Senior Bowl, Daniel Falele was like this. He was shooting up. Everybody on Twitter was talking about him. Everybody in football was talking about him, period. The guy has unbelievable physical, strengths, right? Like he's just 6'8", almost 400 pounds. I mean, the guy is a monster of a man, but he struggled a little bit at the Senior Bowl, particularly in pass protection. He had a couple of bad reps there. While Trevor Penning showed that nastiness that you saw on tape, right? I wondered, seeing a lot of the nastiness on tape, I wonder was that like a level of competition thing where he was, playing against guys who will probably be car salesmen after college. So I was just like, but when I saw him doing the same exact thing against first round quality pass rushers and just throwing these guys to the ground and throwing them to the side like they nothing, and he's nasty in the run game, and I'm just like, man, this guy is unbelievable, and he has the temperament that you really want. In Baltimore, we have a saying is play like a Raven, and Trevor Penning, he exemplifies play like a Raven. I mean, he's nasty. You could put him at guard, you could put him at tackle, and I think he'll just be one of your best offensive linemen on the field. Reason why I mentioned guard is because of his physical ability and his size. He would fit well inside, but he also played really well in the game outside. So for me, those two guys are particular focus for me. Falele was kind of disappointing. He is nasty in the run game, and he did show really good ability to move for a guy his size, especially when they're pulling the tackles and the guards. He shows something in the run game, but he really left much to be desired in the pass game. But one thing we've all mentioned about Falele is that he's raw. He's young to the position. He's young to football in general, and I just think with the right coaching, this guy will still be a quality offensive lineman in the NFL. So I mean, man, I'm excited about these guys. Trevor Penning to me is just shooting up. I think he can be. I think he'll definitely be a first round pick, and I think he can reach that number 3 offensive line overall for me going forward.
All right, we can move over to coach's list here. The graphic is going to have some issues with it. Coach, do you want to look at one of these other graphics instead? Or do you just want to go to that first one?
Welcome, Coach.
What's up? What up? Oh yeah, my bad. Okay, so they
No
copied
worries.
that other one. That's fine. Yeah, it's basically I have the same thing. The only thing is I didn't put the obvious Ikem Ekwonu on there because obviously I know you guys are gonna hammer that home. I was just trying to give our audience a different perspective, one additional guy to look at. So with my 5, I it's hard to put these guys in order outside of Evan Neal. I think Evan Neal's like the clear favorite for most of us, basically being 1 or 2, and that's where I was when I made my list. The next guy in line was Charles Cross, and I basically talked a little bit about their strengths and weaknesses, but I'll just give you my order. The next guy, Trevor Penning has to be my 3rd guy, just because of he matched the you kind of had the awe factor when you seen him at Northern Iowa. And Northern Iowa, like I was talking to Jake a couple of times, they're slowly becoming a pipeline to the NFL for offensive linemen. And I think Trevor Penning is going to pick up where that particular pipeline left off. And I just really, really like what he's able to do, particularly when people try and bull rush him, because that way he don't have to chase him. So if he doesn't have to chase him, he can kind of impose his will on him. Now, there are some concerns for him. The smaller quicker defenders, they can kind of get under his pad level because he's typically kind of high. He's 6'7", so he's going to naturally be high anyway. So with that being said, that's a concern. But that's something that you can coach up. You can coach that up to say, hey, look, you want to basically keep your pad level low as you can possibly keep it until initial contact or point of contact. And then once you got that point of contact, now you attack through the defender and so forth. The one thing that I really love about him is his ability to kick slide. I don't know if you guys got a chance to see it at the Senior Bowl, but that is underrated for me. It's a thing of beauty, especially because of what Matt was saying. Basically, he's playing against, some of these guys could probably be used car salesmen. So for him to develop that and be able to use it, I think that's a plus, because that's one less thing I got to teach him at the next level. The other thing that's good with him is that he has loose hips, so he's able to reset faster than the typical lineman. And that's why I would love for him to be at tackle, because he's able to reset quicker. Because if you guys notice, that's where we struggle at, particularly on the right side of our line. Thanks a lot, Alejandro Villanueva. But if we got that guy, Trevor Penning, I think a lot of our problems would be handled just by having him. The number 4 guy was Kenyon Green, and then my last guy, it would be Kennard, Darian Kennard from Kentucky. So with Darian Kennard, he's 6'5", 324. What I like about him, he's a mauler. He has a high IQ, and he kind of, if we were to re-sign Bradley Bozeman, he'll take on that same mantra of what Bradley Bozeman has, because he kind of has it in him already, but he kind of said, hey, I'm going to feed off other people's energy. And this would kind of be like a complete package. So if we don't get one of the premier guys right off the rip, because we may go defense with our first pick, he's a kind of, hey, let's double back. So now we can turn around and get some kind of middle of the pack type of offensive tackle. The other thing about him is he has great lateral movement. So with that being said, for me, that's underrated when it comes down to people trying to speed rush you. I can basically get in front of you. Then once he's able to get in front of you, his thing is, if he latches onto you, you're not going nowhere. You're not going nowhere. He pretty much gonna stop you from making a play. He does have issues with speed guys, just like Penning. That's outside of the top 3 guys. That's most of these guys that we looking at going to have trouble gauging some of the speed that comes off the edge. Mm-hmm. For the pass pro, he needs a little bit of work, but like I said, some of these guys are going to need a little bit of coaching up when it comes down to what kind of offense they're going to be in and how they're going to teach them how to pass block for them based off the system. The one downside that I don't like is his hand movement. It's kind of average. It's like he has to get his hands on you. He's not going to manipulate you to get to you a certain spot to where I can outsmart you for say with the hand movement. Now, once you get there though, he is definitely going to be a statue when it comes down to, hey, you're not going to move him around too tough. All right, for my number 3, Kenyon Green. Kenyon Green, you guys talked about him a little bit. I'm not going to talk too much about him. I really, really, really like the fact that he has a quick first step. He is probably, out of the 5 guys that I'm talking about, he probably absorbs the bull rush or negates the bull rush the best out of all the guys, to the point to where I was really, really excited that he wasn't getting any kind of mention to where now, hey, he's kind of going to be, if we don't get a Trevor Penning, we don't get a Charles Cross or Evan Neal or whatnot, I would be 100% happy with the Kenyon Green, because that bull rush piece and the explosive quick step, those things going to help when it comes down to it. That's something I don't have to teach. That's something I don't have to coach a dog. I don't have to coach him to be a dog. He basically going to come out and do it himself. The one thing that I don't like about him though is he kind of try and outpower people. I guess because he think he's a little bit shorter than the average offensive lineman that we're talking about. So he figures like, hey, I have the leverage. I don't have to run my feet. I would like for him to, once he gets that initial contact, start to run his feet a lot more to drive defenders away or even to the ground. Moving along to Charles Cross from Mississippi State, 6'5", 310. A little bit on the lighter side for me for a tackle or a guard or whatnot. But he recovers very well. His hands placement is very great. The foot speed is good. Run blocking, he's just straight mauler. Arm length, dude can reach you almost, from tackle to tackle. He has his wingspan is crazy. So for me, that's one of the things that's kind of underrated too, because he can kind of when people do try and bend around him, he can kind of just wash them down. Because hey, guess what? I got that length to do so. And then the last one is Evan Neal, 6'7", 350. My initial concern for him is the fact that he was teetering 390 at some point playing at Alabama. I know if he gets anywhere close to that, it's going to be an issue. And I'm not saying that, hey, he can't play at that type of weight, but it's just to the point to where the average NFL pass rusher is just going to blow by you most of the time. It's just asking a lot for him to do. Now, it's great that you're a mountain of a guy, but you got to be able to move as well. Now, the good part about it, even with that weight, 390, he still was around the same body fat percentage as an average NFL player, which is around 22, 23%, which is crazy to even think about that. You got a guy at 390 pounds with 22% body fat. But wow. It is what it is. And then the last thing I want to talk about with him is his pad level in the run. So for some odd reason, him being that big and him being that aggressive, having that much strength, his pad level is kind of high. And like I said, going against the smaller guys, they'll just run underneath him. And even if they don't make the tackle, they can disrupt the plays mostly, or even run away from them. So.
So I heard you mention Penning. Would you take Penning over Kenyon Green? I think I asked Jake the same thing, but
would I take Penny over Kenyon Green?
Yeah.
Yes. I would. And the reason is, the reason for it is because the stuff that's correctable for Penny is not going to hinder him. Pad level, that's a muscle memory type of deal. Hey, bro, this is what it should feel like when you go to engage people. When it comes down to you not knowing how to do it, I basically had training camp to try and teach you that. And if you don't get it, now you become a liability. So I would have to go with Penny. It's not a gaping hole there, but I would have to go with Penny.
I think a big point there is the situation with Ronnie Stanley. Like, come draft time, we may or may not know more about that. And even if we do, say Ronnie's looking good, everything's going to be a full go, the Ravens still might be cautious, and they might go with a prospect that maybe isn't, quite as dominant in the run game, but they think, hey, this guy's going to be a better pass protector over the course of his career. And we think that he's going to be a better left tackle just because they know they need that insurance. And in that case, I would agree that Penning makes more sense than Kenyon Green. But if the health is not a big concern and you're looking for a right tackle / dominant guard, I prefer Green to Penning. So, I mean, it kind of comes down to that. Like, Charles Cross is number one. If you're going, hey, we're probably not going to get Stanley again, but Cross is a little bit lower for me if Stanley's status is optimistic. So I think the rankings can totally change based on what you're thinking, in kind of the plan that you have for the off season.
Yeah,
because I love Ekwonu. He's like my favorite tackle right now. But if Stanley is a no-go, I'm going to have Cross higher than him.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. But if if you just took the Ravens out of it, right? Just need and all of that, and Stanley and everything. Who would you have as the higher rated prospect?
I mean, I think rankings are so subjective. So like,
who do you think is the better player? I guess
what I like to see, like what I enjoy, I have Ekwonu higher. If you're just talking about pass protector, like who's going to be better in that area, I have Cross higher.
Okay.
than between those players. And my rankings could change based on that. So like I'm kind of leaning more heavy right tackle perspective than left tackle.
Okay. Hey, so Chris, which player concerns you going into this process and going into the draft, or so far this player is starting to give you a little bit more concerns than you maybe previously thought?
I'll probably go with I would probably say Penning.
Hmm.
He because like he had those highlights of where he was finishing guys after the play and stuff at the Senior Bowl,
Mm-hmm.
but there were a lot of times where he was having a hard time redirecting after he got beat, and that is very, very concerning for me. He's a guy like all of you guys said. I love watching him, and I love the intensity that he brings. But all that is fine, but it's just that getting beat in the NFL, that's going to happen to every tackle.
Everyone.
Every tackle is going to get beat. What makes Ronnie Stanley so good is that when he's beat, he's able to recover after that.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's the most glaring hole right now for Trevor Penning is his ability to recover after he's beat. We see him a lot of times where he'll get beat on the outside and he'll just latch on to a dude and he'll get that penalty. And we've actually seen it with him because he's one of the most penalized tackles in the game, like in college football. And is that just going to be fixed at the NFL level? I don't know. I'm not saying that he's a guy that is like, no, he's not a first rounder. He's a first rounder all day.
Mm-hmm.
But my concern is taking him that high at 14 and having that glaring concern with him when it comes to his ability to recover.
He did struggle against Boy Mafe in one-on-one drills. So it's guys like that, like you mentioned, those quick twitch guys, those fast guys.
Yeah.
Those are the guys that he I think he may struggle with early. But going back to what you feel like is his weaknesses, do you think that's coachable? Do you think it's something that with NFL coaching he could get better at?
I mean, it comes down to like a core thing, like your core strength, your hip mobility, because when you're going one way, because he's a great athlete, like you could see clearly he's a good athlete,
Mm-hmm.
but for whatever reason, when he's knocked back or the player's going in a direction that he doesn't anticipate, he has a hard time redirecting and shifting his weight.
Mm-hmm.
So that I'm not sure if you can correct that in any way. I don't know. I know he's been working with Duke Manyweather to try to correct those issues, but I don't want to say no, you can't correct it, but I think it's probably one of the most difficult things that we see as far as tackles when they go to the next level, and they act like, if you see a tackle have those issues in college, we don't see it really be corrected all the way at the next level. Sometimes it's magnified at the next level because you're going up against savvier rushers, you're going up against stronger and faster guys.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to just write it off and be like, no, he can't,
Mm-hmm.
because I do believe in him as a player, as a prospect. It's just that's just one of the main concerns that I have.
Vic, give me a sleeper, someone that no one's talking about right now, or maybe just after this weekend, people are starting to talk about this guy. Give me a sleeper right now, someone that it may not even be on your list.
I just say the kid from Utah, Bama, Bama Osalani, man, he's 6'8". Something about foreign people players, Paul Alexander is big on going up there, doing this Europe tours, going to London. You know, Paul Alexander is used to be a linebacker, offensive tackle coach in the league. So he's high on players coming overseas, and he had him in his list. So he's a sleeper, 6'8", 350. He played great at the East and West Shrine game. I only watched like 2 games. I watched that versus Oregon, and I watched his bowl game. So he's a sleeper, man. 6'8", from a different country coming in here, and he's been playing left tackle for Utah. And Utah had a great season this year, so that's one of my sleepers, man.
Jake, give me your sleeper. Who's a guy who may have just gotten on your radar after the Senior Bowl and the Shrine Bowl?
I don't really have a lot of sleepers. There's some guys I need to go watch because I wasn't super deep into the tackles. Chris mentioned him already. Bernard Raman/Raymond, however you want to pronounce his last name. Not a sleeper whatsoever, but I really want to get some looks at his college tape. And then another guy that Victor mentioned, and I saw a small sample size of. This is going to be more of a probably day 3, maybe like 4th round prospect. Sean Rain, Wayne, however you want to pronounce his name, from UCLA. So he's going to be more of a sleeper that Victor actually had in his 5 guys.
You know, it's a guy that really kind of stood out to me over the weekend that he was not on my radar at all before the weekend. And that's a guy, Cole Strange. I mean, that guy he just kept showing up. He just kept showing up solid in the pass blocking, just as good in run blocking, showing position versatility. He's a guy I just, UT Chattanooga, I had never even heard of him, just being honest, and this guy he showed up and showed out. And he's a guy I believe made himself some money this weekend. He definitely made himself some money this weekend. He's now, to me, I think he'll be a day 2 pick.
What's the offensive tackle on the other side of Raman?
Luke Gadecki.
Yeah, Luke Gadecki. Yes,
that would be another guy that I would mention.
Okay. What about you, Coach? Who's a guy that's kind of shooting up your board that a lot of people weren't talking about?
Spencer Burford would be one of my guys. I always had concerns about him because he's lighter. He was 290, 297 coming in. I don't know what he weighs exactly right now. Mm-hmm. But for me, he didn't waver. He's still right there. Coming from UTSA. So I think he would be a steal based off of where you would get him. Now, do I think you should take him 2nd or 3rd round? Absolutely not. I'm not saying that. But I will tell you, if you had to go take him, the early 3rd, maybe late 2nd, he still would give you some kind of value. It's not a total just leap of faith type of deal. The other thing is, I think the style of offense they ran is the reason why he doesn't have the looks that you want him to have. Because clearly this weekend he held his own in every particular drill. Was he a standout? No, but he's definitely serviceable. So I definitely would look at him as probably a sleeper when it comes down to the tackle position.
That's interesting. I have to, man, it's just so many guys. I want to let you guys know though. I'm gonna let everybody out know right now. There's a group of guys who really didn't benefit from this past weekend, who I think took a big hit, and that's NFL free agent offensive linemen, because this draft is so loaded with offensive. I mean, we just mentioned mostly guys who were playing in the Senior Bowl and played in the Shrine Bowl, but there's a whole list of underclassmen who didn't play in these games, who are probably going to go higher than the guys that played this weekend. And that just means that the value on the open market for some of these offensive linemen that'll hit free agency, that's probably coming down. Teams are going to probably lowball some of these guys, knowing that they can get it, another guy in the draft. They're gonna give them they're gonna give them whatever they feel is fair in the offer. But I wouldn't expect a lot of money to be thrown around at tackles or offensive linemen in general in free agency. It's just this draft is just loaded. Interior, offensive tackles, guards. And I mean, you can find whatever you want in this draft. You can probably find multiple. So I believe that those guys really took a hit this weekend, because now teams knowing that there's O linemen in pretty much every round that you can get that'll come in your program and really help your team, especially in those first 2 days. Those guys can come in and start. I mean, I think every guy we named tonight could start next year as rookies. Maybe a couple of them might need some work, depending on the system they go in. But yeah, a lot of these guys could start, year one. And honestly, the way the NFL works, they may have to. So is there any guys, Coach, that this kind of disappointing to you? Is that maybe you lost some money this weekend?
I based off where they play, I had a lot riding on the likes of Rasheed Walker, Thayer Mumford, and even Marquise Hayes from Oklahoma. I just thought those guys would live up to what their school do. When it comes down to they always had an element of a run game. So I was like, you know what, if nothing else, they're gonna be road graders. And they kind of just came out there, like they didn't lay total eggs or nothing like that, but it was like, okay, we here. This is kind of like the check the box type of deal. My tape is already out there. It is what it is. I'm not caring too much about it. Especially for me, Hayes. I just thought he was going to be like, okay, he'll be the guy to move up. Right now, I think he is not even in the top 10 in this position. So with that being said, I just thought he was going to, him and the other guy, what's his name, Nicolas Petit-Frere. I just thought those two guys, for me, they were contending for probably being in the top 5. I was looking at both of them, like, all right, I expect one of them at least to climb up in the top 5, and I just didn't see that. So,
who lost some money for you, Jake?
It's hard to say. I think Daniel Falele was up and down. A lot of people had him as, a borderline first-round player. I still think that could be there, because as practices went on, you can see the traits. He definitely has them. I think he's a guy that can learn relatively quickly. So there's always the chance that a team is going to take a risk on somebody of that size, that stature, that young in the position. So I say his stock is, maybe a tiny bit lower than what it was coming into the week, but I also saw like some positive, some progression for him throughout. He clearly is good in the run game. So you're getting a base level of strong run game offensive lineman, which, fits the right-hand side generally, the strong side of an offense. So stock maybe a little bit down for me, but he's one of the higher pedigree names on the list. So there's going to be other guys that have lower stock than Falele for sure.
Absolutely. What about you, Chris? Who lost some money for you this weekend?
I'm gonna say Max Mitchell from Louisiana. There were, a lot of times where he was just beat over and over again, and it seemed like he was being beat with the same inside spin move, and for whatever reason, he just could not get it down. I don't know if the moment was too big for him, if he was just trying to implement the new techniques that he was being taught over there. But it's a lot, they get thrown a ton of stuff down there at the Senior Bowl. So it's like you're trying to learn all these new techniques that coaches are throwing at you. And then on top of that, you're going up against some of the best college players in the world, some of the top college players in the draft. And it could be a lot. And it kind of seemed like he was overwhelmed. I think he's a guy that he has the skill set, he has the ability, but I think the lights were a little bit too bright for him down there, and he struggled.
a guy to me that I saw struggling. Some people liked him, but I just wasn't impressed. Was Andrew Stuber from Michigan. He seemed to just get overpowered a lot. Like he struggles with the bull rush, a lot. He got overpowered a lot. I way too many times I've seen him getting driven back to the quarterback, and I was just like, I've seen enough of that as a Ravens fan, of guys getting bench pressed and put in Lamar Jackson's lap, and I was like, nah. And he's a Michigan guy, and them hardballs, and I'm like, he would definitely be a guy I could see us drafting later in the draft, and I'd just be like, no. To me, Stuber, he was a name that a lot of people were talking about. They thought that he had a potential, to really rise over the weekend, and to me, he did the opposite. He just didn't look impressive. Obviously, you have to go back to the tape, watch the tape, because like Chris just said, they throw a lot of these guys. They want to see these guys think on their feet. They want to see these guys react to real life, adversity. Hey, you gonna play guard. Hey, you gonna play center. You gonna play tackle. Let me see what you do. You know what I'm saying? They want to see how they're gonna respond because stuff like that happens in the NFL. If a guy goes down and maybe another guy goes down, and you have to move one guy over here, and now you may have to step up in a position that you don't normally play, and they want to see what you can do and how you handle it, and as far as versatility as well. Can you play multiple positions? To me, nowadays, the new age offensive lineman can play 2 to 3 positions. To me, he was a guy he just kind of struggled for me. What say you, Vic? Who was a guy you felt like lost some money this weekend?
Well, Jackson Kirkland from Washington. He had to go back to college. He had some injuries. I was somebody I was high on coming in from the pack.
Mm-hmm.
He played, left guard, right tackle, and then finished the season left tackle at Washington. But hopefully next year, he was supposed to play at the East and West Shrine game, but next year he'll be at the Senior Bowl because he'll be a senior. So, he lost the money. It's tough for these cats. Going in and losing money like that, and they have to go back to school. So, you don't know if he's gonna be there, but he lost some money, definitely.
Well, it's a long off season. The draft process it just started, and we got the combine, NFL combine coming up. We'll have pro days throughout the coming months, and then the draft is in April. So a lot of these guys who stock may be down right now, they do have an opportunity to maybe rise their stock a little bit. But to me, when it comes to offensive linemen, this is their moment, right? Because it's the one-on-ones. You're not going to get those at the combine. You're not going to get that at a pro day. You're going to be pretty much hitting the bag, and running. Combine's more of just testing your athletic ability. But these all-star games, Senior Bowl and stuff like that is perfectly made for the guys in the trenches to be able to separate themselves and show what they can really do. To me, the Underwear Olympics is what they call the combine. That's more for the skill position players to me. The 40-yard dash, vertical, all of that stuff is for guys who play skill positions. Offensive linemen, defensive linemen. This is where you make your money. And some guys made a lot of money this offseason. This past weekend, and some guys lost out on some money. So we got next week. We're going to be doing linebackers. So for those of you who love defense, we're going to get into some of these linebackers next week and talk about our favorite. I already could think of 3 guys right now off the back that really impressed me at the Senior Bowl. And that, that's not even including the top 2 dogs. So, Jake, notice I said dog. So that should be a fun show, man. We're going to do our parting shots. We're going to go around the room. Anybody have anything they want to, throw out there? Feel free. Go ahead, Jake. We're going to start with you.
Sure. Yeah. So we got the Super Bowl coming up, and I'm excited for that game, even though it doesn't have our team in it. I'm rooting for the Rams, obviously, but looking forward to getting into these linebackers. I've already kind of gotten a preview from looking at some of these other players. So definitely excited to see what these guys can do. And there's a long list I think linebacker is going to be a pretty strong group this year, just from the names I've seen and some of the things they've done. A guy I haven't even watched yet, other than Senior Bowl stuff, is Chad Muma from Wyoming, and he's he stands out there, and athletic as all get out. He has more weight on him than a guy like Channing Tindall, but he might be running as fast as him at 20 pounds lighter. So that's going to be an interesting one for me. And then obviously my dogs, there's 3 linebackers, Nakobe Dean, Channing Tindall, and Quay Walker. Walker is my second favorite out of the bunch, and he's not getting much buzz. So I'm definitely going to have to hit on some of those guys.
He's a Moon, man. He's a guy that like I really like. He's a guy who I think can make a lot of money at the combine. Depending on what he runs at, in the 40 and then the short cone drills. See how strong he is on the bench press. He's a guy who I think can make a lot of money. Vic.
Yeah. So, Super Bowl next week as well. Our theme this show was like who has risen and who has fallen. But next week I'll definitely be talking about Diego from Army. That no, I was seeing some stuff about him that
Say his last name.
It's French, man. It's French.
It's French, man.
Yeah, pronounce it French.
Put you on the spot. What's his last name?
I think it's Fagot.
Hey, it's Fagot. He's from Navy.
Yeah,
He's from Navy. Okay.
He played great. He was the MVP of the defense. So, if you looked at his name before, nobody had him. Everybody had him, not even making it to the league. So after that performance, there's definitely a buzz after him, and I'll definitely talk about him and the other kid, DeMarco Jackson, too, that played great at the Senior Bowl. So, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, he did. And he was showing some leadership out there as well.
Yeah, and all these cats are team captains, and you know how the Ravens are. They love team captains.
Chris.
Everybody check me out on Twitter. Deep Cover Pod. We just dropped a new episode a couple days ago.
Yeah, that was dope.
We appreciate that. And I want to give the people some homework that are listening. I want people to watch Dylan Parham, who's playing center down at the Senior Bowl. And I thought he was one of the most consistent linemen there. He's an undersized right tackle, put on some weight. He's 313. He weighed in at the Senior Bowl, and in my opinion, he held his own down at the Senior Bowl, and he looked great. He's a guy that I thought coming into it could play. I mean, you could keep him at right tackle, because I saw it in Patrick McCary, where I was like, look, this dude has the feet to play tackle. He has the understanding of angles. He knows how to shield off defenders. And I think Dylan Parham can play right tackle too. But they just stuck him at center, and I mean, he blew my expectations out the water, and I already thought a lot about him. So look him up, and also another center from Kentucky, Luke Fortner. Those two guys, I felt like they were the most consistent guys as far as the center position, and they look really, really well. So give some homework to the people that are listening.
I like Luke, Coach.
Yeah. We got the Super Bowl coming up. You guys kind of alluded to it. Yeah. Go Rams, I'm also a big OBJ guy. So I like OBJ. I wasn't one of those guys that was saying that he was washed, because I knew he still had some fight left into him. So, but the linebacker, I'm looking forward to that. Partly because there's some sleepers out in the SEC West that's being overshadowed by what's going on in Georgia Bulldog country. So they kind of look at the Nakobe Deans and the Tindalls and forget about everybody else in the conference. The one that I like at LSU is Damone. I got to get his last name, but he's 6. Yeah, Damone Clark. Yeah. So he's 6'3", 6'3". Hey, look, trust me. Look, this guy is everything you need. He got injured. He's everything you need when it comes down to coverage, being able to go sack the quarterback, and you don't have to command him to do it. He kind of feeds off what the plays are and just go make it happen. So I'm really excited, and I can't wait till next week.
Man, Darian Beavers is my guy, man. I can't wait to talk about Darian Beavers. He was showing a lot in the Senior Bowl, Senior Bowl week. Darian Beavers, he pretty much confirmed everything I had saw on tape with him, and so it was exciting to see that with him. He's a guy who, if you like the mock drafts, a lot of mocks have him mocked to the Ravens in some later rounds. So Darian Beavers is a guy. Super Bowl. Since you guys mentioned the Super Bowl, man, I got to get your picks. I need a score. Let's get these picks and then we can get out of here. Vic, I'm gonna let you kick it off. Who you got? What's your score?
At whose house? Rams house. I got Rams going 28-25. Field goal wins the game.
28-25. Okay. Jake.
Yeah, Rams for me. I will go 31-26.
Okay. Chris.
I'm gonna go Rams 50-0.
So that mean they gonna lose now.
Huh?
That mean they gonna lose now that you didn't predict it 50.
I hope not, man. I hope not.
Coach.
Yeah, so I'm going Rams 30-20.
Okay. Yeah, it's a clean sweep. I'm going Rams 27-17, man. I mean, you playing at home. You know, I'm excited about the matchups within the matchups. You know, Jalen Ramsey matched up with Jamar Chase. That's gonna be, you know, that's worth the price of admission right there. You know, and then let's not forget Cincinnati gave up 9 sacks against Tennessee, and then now you got to see Aaron Donald and Von Miller and those guys hyped up, knowing that if they just win this game, they Super Bowl champs. That's a lot, because you know it's one thing for those older guys to have to get up for a regular season game knowing that you got 10 left, right? When it's the Super Bowl, this is it. That's it. You win this, you're a champion forever. So, and I know Aaron Donald's been hungry to get one since they lost to the Patriots the first time. So yeah, to me, I think Rams will take it. I'm very concerned though. You know, Matt Stafford is prone to throw some picks, you know, when he's pressured. So we'll see how that's able to work. I don't know, man. Cincinnati's secondary with Eli Apple and those guys against, you know, the Triple Crown winner and Cooper Kupp, and you got OBJ, and I mean, I don't know, man. It's a tough task. I think turnovers will play a major part in this game. You know, whoever turns the ball over the least. I mean, that's typical, right? But the Rams, man. You know, the running back, he can put the ball on the ground sometimes. We saw that in the playoffs. So it's going, you know, ball security is going to be important in this game. You know, Cincinnati is going to be trying to poke at the ball, trying to get it out. And I want to see how Joe Burrow is going to play on the biggest stage. You know, this is the biggest stage of his career. You know, he played in the national championship, but to me, that pales in comparison to the Super Bowl. I mean, it's a Super Bowl. You know, you know what I'm saying? So it don't get no bigger than that. But man, again, we want to thank everybody out there for rocking with Sports Freak Podcast, Sports Freak University. You know, we're gonna continue bringing you guys hot content, giving you good information, solid stuff, so you know when you watch the draft, you can watch like a pro and know about the guys that your team may be fielding in next year in September. So with that being said, man, we out.